Are you tired of scrolling through Instagram and seeing pictures of your friends on vacation? They're on the beach, they're having the time of their lives, they're drinking in Ibiza, they're in Cancun partying, and there you are at work, bored, typing away, miserable, mad at the world. Welcome back to Studionomics TV. Today we're telling you exactly how you can save up for your first trip or your next trip. Because life is short, there's a lot to see out there, and I want you to travel the world. Step 1, make travel a priority. If you actually want to travel and go on vacation, you have to make this a priority. It's fun to say, oh, I want to travel, I want to do more. But it's another thing to actually plan for it and save up for it. So how do you make it a priority? Start an adventure fund. So with most bank accounts now, you can set up a separate, a checking account, sub account. And I did this like 10 years ago. I started a separate sub account. I called it whatever, travel, Cancun, whatever it was at the time. I believe it was Cancun Fund. I called it that. And that was my fund for vacations. That was my adventure fund. That's where I put my money aside. And having that account made it tangible and real, and I had to be accountable. So you set that account up, and then you figure out, how do I make this happen, right? So that's where things get interesting. So now you have to figure out how you're going to make more money. How are you going to save? The easiest way to start is put $20 there. Put $20 every week. At the end of the week, try to cut back. Have one less drink, one less meal out, one less pack of cigarettes, one less whatever you do, right? Try to just put $20 aside. That'll be at least $1,000 at the end of the year. 20 here, maybe sometimes 30, sometimes 25, sometimes 10. But always put the money aside so you have money. And eventually this adventure fund will grow, and then you have money to travel. Because if you just try to plan a trip, like let's say next week your buddy wants to go somewhere, it's unrealistic. You don't have that extra $1,000. You have to earn it. You have to earn your freedom. You have to earn your fun. That's the first step. The next step is figure out when. When can you go? Do you have vacation time at work? Do you have a gap in your schedule? Do you have like a slow period in your business? Do you have a specific time you can go? Because I've heard from friends who are like, oh, I'm off from work for 2 weeks, and they're like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, are you going anywhere? And they're like, oh, no, I didn't plan anything. Well, don't let that happen to you. Don't let your vacation come, you have nothing planned. Because there's nothing worse than sitting at home and actually missing work, right? So try to find a time. It could be spring break. It could be slow season. It could be any time. Just decide on this time, but make sure it's at least 3 to 6 months in advance. I use the point of February because I travel every winter because Canada's really cold. I use February as my kind of starting point or my travel point, and I always think about February as a time to go away. So I know that I gotta start saving so that every February I have money. Speaking of which, I'll be going away soon. It depends when you're watching this. Next step. Step 3, figure out where you're going to go. Do you have family summer? Is there something you really want to see? Is there a part of the world you want to explore? Is there something you want to learn, something you want to do? Or do you want to just avoid the winter? Usually in the winter, I plan a warm escape. I try to go somewhere like Mexico or Cuba, Dominican, Costa Rica, Colombia, somewhere hot. And I also base it around the Spanish language because I like learning languages and I like to work on those skills. So I try to go somewhere Latin America or Spanish based every February. A couple of years ago I went to visit my brothers in Australia. So it depends what your goals are. If you want to learn Jiu-Jitsu, you can go to Brazil. If you want to learn Muay Thai, go to Thailand. But just think about where you want to go, because just the idea of wanting to travel is too vague. You need to make it very specific and think about places you want to see in this world, and there's a lot. So try to just choose one for now. Step 4, and we kind of talked about this earlier. Always search for deals. Always try to, figure out ways you can make this happen. So I went to Bermuda in 2017, and the way I made this work was I had a friend that moved there. So that was the deal. And we looked up flights. I kept on researching and reviewing, and then finally we saw the deal and we booked it. So now it's easier than ever to find deals. There's so many deal sites. Like in Toronto, I use yyzdeals.com. Or I'll just do Google Flights and I'll set a reminder or whatever just to tell me when the flight was up and down. It's so simple. You can track this. So you can track this for months and be like, wait a minute, I got time off in June, and this trip to Cuba or Mexico is half off that specific week. Boom. Do that, book it, and you're good to go. You can make this trip happen. Step 5, not really a step, more of a key point, but consider going solo. In 2011, I planned a Euro trip after I finished college. I was done. I had money saved. And everybody gave me excuses. Everybody bailed on me. So finally, I waited like 9 months. It was getting towards to a point where this trip wasn't gonna happen. Like after a year, it's not really a grad trip, right? So So after 9 months, I just got the time off from my part-time job at the time. I saved up and I went to Europe by myself. I was nervous as hell. I was intimidated. My parents freaked out, and I had a time of my life. And then both of my brothers ended up traveling Thailand, Australia, and the world on their own because of that. Next step, cut crap out. I know, like, we're all about having fun. You know, I say that personal finance, it should be, you know, fun, and that, you know, planning weekends is difficult enough. Personal finance should be easy. But if you really want to travel, start cutting things out. So as this deadline comes, cut a subscription. Cut something that's bringing you down. And just find a way to make more money. And just do whatever you can to grow that adventure fund. Because you're going to see it at $500. You're going to be like, damn, I want to add more money to it. Just try freelancing. Go through our other videos. Try doing anything you can to cut back, make more money, grow that fund. Because when you're on that trip, you won't miss, I promise you, you won't miss that one night at a club that you didn't go to, or that one dinner you missed. You'll be happy because you're on vacation and having the time of your life. And the final step, the most important step, book it and go. You have to book it. You have to burn the bridges. You have to make it happen. The Zero trip, for example, I found a good deal on Google Flights and I booked it. I know accommodations, which is another story for another video. I usually don't book with accommodations. I just booked and I figure out as I go. But you have to book. Even if it's a year in advance, book. Make it happen. Because the excuses will creep up. The resistance is real. Like, once the time comes, it gets closer, you'll be like, oh, you know, I don't want to miss a workout. I'm busy here, I'm busy there. And you start thinking of excuses, and time comes, and another year comes by, comes and goes, and you haven't been on vacation, you haven't done that trip. Book it and make it happen. That's how you can book your next adventure. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments where you plan on going.